Dean, we can't hear you if you can hear us.
Join a meeting.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go.
Volume good?
Yes, looking real good.
Awesome.
I gotta figure out. Okay, I got the chat over here, I think. Cool.
All this food over here making me hungry.
I just ate with the wife real quick before coming home. I literally got home 4 minutes ago.
Nice.
Haven't even changed clothes yet.
Trying to get these lights out of you guys' eyes.
Yeah.
That might be better.
Got some echo there.
Yeah, that sounds like on your end, huh?
Can y'all hear me?
You're echoing. Shit, I'm echoing.
I think it's Trey.
Possibility.
I think your computer speaker is going back through the mic.
Well, I got one of them muted.
It seems better now. Dang, y'all got the whole squad out there. Got a little FOMO, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, he's bringing the food.
Nice.
Hey,
Tequila
ready,
tonight,
man. I
Dean?
like it.
Huh?
I said you showed up ready. I like it.
Yeah, after I spent all day getting my shit set up at home, then I decided, I'll just come wing it out here, you know?
All right, cool. Well, I think we're good to go. Looks like we got 8 people.
Plus, there's like 10 people here that are going to watch it.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. So let's get rolling, man. So what went well for y'all this past weekend? Did y'all learn anything?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say anything went well. Or not as well as I wanted it to go. But I think it's typical. I mean, I only got 2 hours of sleep Friday night, Saturday night. So. I guess it was just too bad. I just being like the weather was so perfect, except it was so windy on Saturday, and then yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to go fast, but didn't quite work out there. But I'm stoked for NCM.
I almost texted him like, "Yo, bro, you can like let everybody know."
What's Trey doing? I muted you for a minute there while Dean was talking, Trey.
No, you know why?
The echo was pretty bad.
All
All right, yeah, I have Trey muted. Can y'all hear me and Dean okay? Right now, like when. Okay, cool. All right, just make sure the sound was going through properly. It's been like a week since we did this. I can't remember. All right, perfect. Appreciate that.
I'm chomping everybody here.
All right, all right, all right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, there we go.
Cool.
So about you, Trey, what went well for you?
What went well? In terms of my personal riding, or I didn't crash. That's a plus. That's always a plus.
Sure.
I learned a thing or two about slip angle and steering the bike with the throttle. And I'm not sure if it was me being a little more aggressive than I usually am with the throttle, or if it was the Dunlop slicks that I put on that usually tend to slip a little more until they hook up. But so I kind of played with that a little bit, and it's not something I would want to teach inexperienced riders how to do. That's something that really you should only play with once you're comfortable enough on the bike, once you have the available attention span to notice when the rear starts to slip out on you more than you want it to. But yeah, I did a little research on it, and it's basically like drifting, but small.
Very cool. Very cool. So what Trey is alluding to here is basically using the throttle to get the bike to turn, basically causing oversteer, I guess if you think it in car terms.
Right, same thing, oversteer.
Yeah. So, yeah, very cool. I remember watching one of the Moto America interviews, I think with Baz, or maybe Cam Peterson, where he was talking about that a lot, and it's pretty cool. Can't say I do it very much on the 600. But the bike definitely turns better when you're on the throttle, for sure.
You know, you probably do it more often than you think, and it's almost a subconscious thing. For example, say you're coming in 5 too hot, right? Or you go through 5 too hot, and you're exiting 5, and you're coming up on the rumble strips or the candy paint, and you don't want to run over the paint. So what do you kind of do? You just give it a little more gas to make it kind of dig and point and shoot the out. That's something you really don't think about.
Y'all live yet?
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, Dean, they asked you if we're live yet.
Who? Them?
Yeah, we're live.
So yeah, I think that's a great point. A lot for intermediate riders, especially. I remember going to the riding school with CMRA last year with Cody and Dallin and them, and the teacher making a comment that if you're in a turn and you don't think you're going to make it, and by when I say don't think you're going to make it, I mean run wide. If you think you're going to run wide and you're driving out of the turn, the answer is not to let off the gas, because that will guarantee that you're going to run wide and run off the track. You at least need to hold your throttle, or maybe even add some, and then a lot of times that'll let you tighten the turn up. And I didn't get it when he said that in class. I was like, that's bullshit. There's no way. But after being in that situation so many times, yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
And I know that, but I still roll off exiting out of 4, and that's like the worst corner that I have. And it's a very important corner on the track because it's one of the longer straightaways. Again, it's not 7 to 8, it's not 16 to 1, but it's one of those where it's a longer straightaway. You're getting a lot of speed in the 5. That's probably one of my weaker corners, but I always catch myself rolling off instead of just staying there.
Going into 5 or out of 4?
Out of 4.
Why do you roll off?
Because I'm running wide instead of finishing the corner with the Rio. It's a survival reaction, right? It's a bad one. It's not one. Right. It's not one that I should have, but I do. So, yeah.
So from the research that I've done and the way I understand it, if you were, say you're coming out of 4, right, and you're on the gas and the bike wants to run wide, if you're holding 20% throttle, yes, you're accelerating, but it's not enough to change the swing arm angle. You have to be actually adding throttle input, not just holding throttle and letting the bike accelerate. You have to be adding input, and that's what shortens the wheelbase and picks the ass end up and makes the bike steer better.
Yeah.
But
That's the physics behind it. You're shortening the wheelbase, and then you're also adding swing arm angle, which helps the bike turn
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Because as you squat your rear, the bike will actually want to run wide. But that's not what happens when you're getting on the gas. That's why when you let off the gas, you're allowing that swing arm to, instead of being at, as you hit the gas and it does this, with this way being the front, it's going to do this as you get on the gas, but as you slow down, it squats. So, yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. So, couple things I wanted to touch on based on some interactions I had throughout the weekend. The first one is bikes in general, modifying your bike, and things of that nature. So I'll give you a little history on me. I have a Ninja 636. I got a rear shock way before I needed it. So I bought the Öhlins TTX. I gained absolutely zero time. I went back to the track. It felt the same as the stock and whatnot. I think at NOLA I was running maybe 56s at the time, 156s. And be honest with you, I didn't need it yet, but it was something that I had the money to buy at the time, and I wanted to future-proof myself. Currently, I run gold valves in my forks, so they're still pretty much stock. And I feel like I'm at the level now where I'm losing confidence in my front end. Like I feel like when I'm in corners and I'm pushing hard, I just feel like the bike's going to fall over, or I'm going to low side all the time. That's just what it feels like. I have no confidence to push it any harder. And that's coming from somebody I've lost the front probably 15 times now, 10 to 15 times. So, I've come to learn where the limit is and at least what it sort of feels like. So, and kind of where I'm going with this is, Trey is a freaking great example. You do not need anything special on your bike to go fast. You really don't.
other than ergonomics.
Yes. The only thing that adding things to your bike is going to do is it's going to handicap it for you, because having better suspension, having better brakes, having a faster engine is only going to allow you to make more mistakes and still go the same speed. So don't feel like you need to get a quick shifter. Don't feel like you need suspension. Don't feel like you need an engine, to get to like 2 minutes at NOLA or to just get fast in general. I can guarantee you the good riders out there don't need all that to go fast. They really don't. And Trey really is a shining example of that. He's almost running 40s and he's on pretty much a stock R1. Like he's got ergonomics, like you said, which are very important. And of course, I'm talking like 600s and thousands here. Obviously, on your 300s, on your twins, yes, you do need to probably add some suspension. Like when you're riding a stock 300 out there, you're pogoing. So you definitely do need some suspension, and some things on that. And if y'all have any questions on that, would be glad to say something there. And then second to all that, engines. When you start building your engine, and the only reason I'm bringing this up because there was 2 people I talked to this weekend. I built my engine for the first time when I went to Road Atlanta to race. Road Atlanta has a straightaway that's probably 40% longer than NOLA. It's probably the same as going from turn 16 straight to turn 5. Like imagine not even turning at 1 and just continuing straight. It might even be longer than that. And so I really needed that power to feel like I could be competitive in the race because of how long the straightaway was. The bike ran very strong, but it was instant reliability problems from then till like a year later. I did all the work myself, and it's just at the end of the day, I'm trying to warn people. So if you're doing track days, I would not suggest it. It's not worth the reliability hit. It's not worth having to run race fuel. If you're going to race, then that's a justification that you have to make for yourself and based on how much money you want to spend. But for track days, absolute waste of money. It was so much a waste of money that I bought a stock engine at the beginning of this year to put in my bike for track days. So just to give y'all a little feel for that.
Yeah. Your your money would be better spent on seat time. Seat time, seat time, seat time. Get comfortable with the bike, get comfortable with the track, and really, I did, yes, thank you. Was that everybody? I didn't get to read it. Review. Here we go. While I got this in front of me, I want to take a second, guys. Dean, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and really, Donnie, I'd like to start doing this on all of our, if we're going to continue to do this, especially on the post track day chats. I want to give a shout out to the guys and girls that got bumped this weekend. If that's okay with y'all.
Heck yeah.
All right. So
Cool.
we got John Fuller. He got his bump to intermediate. John Perez, which is, you guys probably know him as Old and Slow on Facebook and all. He got his bump to intermediate.
Yeah, big congrats to him. He was looking good out there. I got to watch everybody this weekend, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did, huh? Oh, super smooth. He's super smooth. Chad Goday got his bump to intermediate.
Hell yeah, Chad.
Yeah, David Stein. You guys, I think y'all know David, right? He's I think maybe like early 50s. He's on a silver R6 with yellow wheels.
Yep.
He got his A bump this weekend.
Hell yeah.
And then
I think his daughter, he rides with his daughter, doesn't he?
Correct.
Yep.
I did say John Booth, correct? He got an intermediate bump. And then the Duck Boys, so Reagan and his dad both together, they got their intermediate bumps this weekend at NOLA. So
Nice.
props to all you guys. Good riding. Proud of you. Awesome. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Congrats to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We need to start, maybe we need to start getting pictures of everybody and showing them on the stream, and that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree. If this, definitely, if this is something that we're going to continue to do, I like doing it. I like hanging out, talking shop with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was saying your money is much better spent on seat time, and it doesn't have to be just NOLA. A lot of us travel to different tracks. Some of us may have space in our trailer, some of us may not. That, I guess best case scenario would be find somebody that's going hitch a ride for your bike and then drive your car out there. But these things are always open to you guys. So your money is definitely better spent on track time, seat time.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Plus, especially on top of that, you have, the more you ride, the more fun you have. The more time you get to spend with people that you enjoy being with. So I mean, absolutely.
Not only that, the more that you ride, the more consistent you'll be, the more improvements you'll see. If you don't ride for 5 months and you get back on the bike, you're almost kind of starting, back where you were 5 months ago at the beginning of the weekend. So it's not even like you've even had an opportunity to use those improvements and to get better because you've been off the bike. So you're going to spend the first day just trying to get your mind back to it, your body back to it, trying to regain that confidence. So it is, you need to be on the bike. Realistically, like once a month. If you want to make constant improvements and all that, you have to stay on the bike. And if it's not a road bike, it needs to be flat track or dirt track, and you need to have something where you're constantly on 2 wheels to get the feel for it.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're basically just going to constantly start over.
Yeah. What happens is you get in your car every day and you drive to work and your max speed is 60 miles an hour. So you really forget the feeling and the sensation of actually going fast. There's no place on public roads where you can legally, go 130 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour. But yeah, so it's just to keep your learning curve going instead of plateauing. Yeah,
absolutely.
And look, there's a bunch of tracks within 6 to 8 hours of here. If you're in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, and that's east and west. So it's like, it seems like a far time, but
and like Trey said, especially get a hold of people who are traveling from NOLA, and a lot of times they'll be able to help you, whether it's just taking your bike and you drive, or maybe you can ride with them. You know, myself included. So yeah, definitely reach out if it's something you want to do. I know this year's kind of winding down, but we have NCM coming up in a week
A week and a half. Yeah.
and a half. So you know, that's NCM is my favorite track. I've been to a few tracks and it's I love NCM. There's not a single turn I don't like. I mean, it's just it's NOLA on steroids. Like it's phenomenal.
I agree. NCM pretty dope.
Yeah,
You did, and really, each different track offers a different character and different things that I say. So at NCM, you'll be trail breaking more than a lot of other tracks. So you're going to get more comfortable doing that. At Road Atlanta, like Donnie was saying a minute ago, the back straight is 7 miles long and it's got a kink in it. So on a leader bike or on a 1000, by the time you reach that little kink in the back straight, you're doing 160, 170. I'm not going to say somebody did 195 on somebody else's V4R. But yeah, so you get comfortable, you know, being at a lean at 160 miles an hour. You still got traction all day long. But yeah, each different track offers you something to learn, to perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then to talk good about NOLA for a minute, you know, I mean, let's be honest, it's bumpy, but at the end of the day, that makes you and your bike better. In my opinion,
it'll make you better, not your bike better.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Well, it'll make your range of setup better.
Yeah. So NOLA was my home track, and it's the only track I rode at for a long time before I went to any other track. And it prepares you for pretty much everything. Because NOLA, believe it or not, is a very technical track.
It's physical.
I think the only thing I wasn't ready for when I left NOLA was blind turns. And I learned that very quickly at Road Atlanta.
Yeah.
But besides that, it pretty much has everything. And then the only thing NCM has that I think NOLA doesn't have is the bus stop where you have to brake pretty hard leaned over. You're like taking a left-hand turn. Like imagine turn 4 in reverse. So you're like coming into it while turning left and braking at the same time. And that took me a while to get confidence being able to be at like 30 degrees lean, braking hard.
Right.
But
well, I mean, not only that, you absolutely have to trail brake to the apex on that corner. You cannot. If you want to get a good drive out of there, you have to brake all the way to the apex, and then you have to have a good initial throttle, and then you have to roll on smooth because it's so tight, and it comes all the way back on itself. Yeah, and then you're driving up a hill, so it's like that turn right there would teach you so much in just one corner that most other corners just can't even come close to.
So while we were mentioning the character of NOLA, the fact that it's bumpy and all, so one of our local fast guys, actually somebody that I aspired to for a long time, or one of the gentlemen that I looked up to for a long time, Dave Gordon. And in fact, I think we mentioned him last week talking about his body position. He poked a couple of jabs about that, but he just set his personal best last weekend. At a 150.5. That's fucking flying, bro. That's flying. That's goals for me.
On a stock bike.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's flashing tune. He's got performance adders, but in terms of suspension, I think it's all stock. Yeah. So that just goes to show you that, yes, NOLA's got character. Yes, it's got bumps, but it's not unmanageable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm pulling a picture of him up.
I mean, for sure. You know, like when I was blessed to race at Oak Hill Raceway, and you know, Nikki Hayden, Colin Edwards, Ben Spees, Dustin Dominguez. I mean, all these people started racing there or came up right through there racing, and one of the things they said about that place is that if you can go fast there, you can go fast anywhere.
Yeah,
and I think that NOLA's taken a lot of that characteristics on. That hey, if you can go fast there, you can go fast anywhere.
All right.
And it doesn't mean you can't go fast anywhere. It doesn't mean that you can go fast other places that can't go faster. It's just one of those things that a lot of it is a mindset, and the bumps are a mindset. Yeah,
They really are.
it has a lot of physical limitations to it, but a lot of it is like, do you have the mindset to be tough enough to just say, hey, yeah, the bike's gonna move, but I know it's gonna stay. Like if Dustin Dominguez, JC Camacho could do 43s and 45s, then
Still,
you have
every year.
nothing to worry about. There's plenty of grip. You can go over the bumps. It's just a matter of knowing what to do. You know what I mean? There's a couple of little techniques and things that you can do to kind of alleviate that. But if you're on stock suspension, like you really shouldn't feel the bumps a whole lot. If you got built suspension, then like it's gonna be a lot rougher ride than what you're gonna feel on,
Yeah,
on a
until you get
soft,
set up.
or even just softer suspension, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just a mindset. And I mean, you can go fast there, you can go fast anywhere. If you think of it that way, don't psych yourself out going into the weekend thinking, oh, it's bumpy, this and that. But all that aside,
And just ride.
we heard some good news this weekend, did we not?
Yes, we did.
I mean, the rumor is, it's a rumor at this point, but
The rumor is the dream's happening.
yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look, I mean, if that happens, like that's, I mean, the facilities, what NOLA can be, if they repave it and do it the right way, like it's a game changer. It
Yeah.
really is.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Moto America comes back, honestly.
I mean,
it's
you're gonna have a lot more than Motor America here. I mean, you're gonna have, Weir's probably gonna come back. Every track day organization in the country is gonna want to come here.
hey, while we're on that topic, I do have some bad news. CMRA is not returning to NOLA next year.
Well, I think they're talking about going to Dakota.
So I was talking with Mr. Brady, the guy that posted the pictures on that red CBR, and he informed me that they are not coming back next year.
Well,
Which that sucks.
I don't think that's official, but they're talking about going to Dakota.
Yeah, he said they said it at the riders meeting at the last race. So
They
It's
weren't
a-
supposed to come back this year either.
it's unofficially official, I guess.
Well, there goes my shot at racing.
No,
But,
you
I mean-
come race Weira.
So I mean, I just got an email that from CMRA asking was a survey about raising costs to go to Dakota. So I don't know if that's premature that I'm putting it out there or not. Breaking news.
I mean, that'd be cool. I might go to Dakota for that. Shit.
but there's like, we're talking like 40, 50, 60% entry fee increases just for that rack. So
Yeah.
It's Coda. Shit.
yeah, so I mean, you're
And same
looking
way
at-
with Weira for Road Atlanta and Barber compared to like all the other tracks. It's like $100 more for a weekend. I mean, I'm good with it.
Well, I mean, you're talking, if it's $400, it's going to be, I don't know. I think $400 or $500. I did all 7 races. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So you're talking $1,000 and just entry fees, right? Not tires included.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, I signed up. I would do it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about what it costs you to do a track day there. A track day at Barber is
$500.
almost as much as racing Barber. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, a track day at Coda is $500-$600. So I mean, yeah, if I can go there and race, yeah, I would do it. I said that.
Track day go to for me is 1,100.
Well, no, I mean, it is for me too. I'm just saying if I'm racing,
Yeah.
so we got. It looks like Dave might be in chat here talking about himself being old, or is that Jay? Yeah, someone. I do agree with you, Steve. The couch time does suck. I can 100% agree, especially this weekend, seeing y'all out there or seeing them out there riding, having fun, and not being out there with them. It was painful. There's no doubt about it.
I bet.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks for taking a lot of boss ass pictures.
Yeah. I'm glad to help. Chad says that he finds his body floating on the seat of his bike during the bumps. That's right. You need to have your weight on your feet, not your butt. So that's the best way to do it. Especially turn 1 and turn 6. I think that's where I find myself doing it the most.
7.
So is the bump in 7 worse? Can you not?
You know
Is
what?
it on the entry?
No, it's not.
You know what? I found a smooth line through there finally. Like I think I was like going through there, like I think I was rolling through there this weekend.
Oh yeah.
But it's slower than obviously what it used to be because it's an early apex. But like, I mean, I could get through there like and get to full throttle pretty quick without even hitting the bump. But you gotta just early apex the shit out of it and just make it all up on the exit instead of dealing with the bumps and not getting full throttle anyway. You just give up a little entry speed.
Yeah.
Up on the exit.
Yeah. So another thing for this weekend, we had a couple, not very many. Actually, I think this weekend was the least amount of red flags and crashes that we had, even considering that it was a 3-day weekend and open track on Friday. I think it was like a total of like 7 red flags, and more than half of that was mechanical issues. But we did have a couple crashes that did not need to happen. And this is not the coach or control rider talking. This is just another rider. So there was a gentleman that was attempting to make an outside pass or on the exit of 7. He was on a 1000. I think the rider he was passing was on maybe like a 500cc bike. It wasn't a 600 Super Sport, but it was a little smaller than that. But so the guy decides to pass on the outside, and it just so happens that right as he's passing the rider who had the turn, he had the right of way in the turn, right? If you reaching the corner first, then it's your corner. So it's the passing rider's responsibility to plan ahead and make that pass safely. But the point where he actually passed was the original rider, the passee. He was actually on the race line, and he came out of 7, and he just was going wide. And the rider that was trying to do the overtake, he ended up actually getting pushed off the track, and his front tire hit the grass, and he washed out at like 100-something miles an hour. He's fine, but that was 100% avoidable, and that's what we mean when we say only ride to your 90% and save that last 10% of brain power for situational awareness. If he would have been paying attention, or if he wouldn't have been trying to rush to make the pass, then he wouldn't have crashed his body.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that we see a lot. Is people riding to their 100% and they leave no room for error. Like you're on a finite line, right? You're using all of your brain power on your actual riding skills, and you leave nothing left for that turtle that's crossing or that red flag that's waving that you didn't see because you're in the fucking zone. It's just things like that. So not a race, it's a track day. Back off your pace a little bit and save some for situational awareness.
And I think
go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's not even like about rider skill. It's just about I'm just gonna put it out there, just being dumb. I mean, sometimes you just riding dumb. I mean, trying to make a pass on the outside of 7, unless you're on a 1000 and then on a 600 or a 300 and you got that much more exit speed. It's just dumb. Like it's just not even. It's not really even worth it, especially on a track day. If you're racing, like, hey, go for it. Like I'm not gonna tell you in the race, and then do what you have to do. But on a track day, like there's nothing to gain from that. And you'll know coming off the corner whether you can make that pass. Like it's not even. Like, look, if you show them a wheel and they hit you off track, I mean, we can have the conversation about who was at fault. But if you're trying to make the pass and they don't even see you, and you get pushed off the track just because you're trying to still force the issue, I mean, that's on you. That's a rider error, and that's just something that hurts track days. It pushes people away from track days. It gets people injured. People crash their bike and they can't come to the next track day. It's all these little things of why track days are not as huge as they used to be or as they could be because of stuff like that. We just have to just, like Trey said, just like situation awareness, but just like woosah, just a tad bit.
Yeah.
And make sure that like, don't be boneheaded. Like there's no reason to be boneheaded out there. You know what I mean? Like you can give them, you know what you could have done? You could have set that pass up on the inside. You know what I mean? Let them get out a little bit, set up on the inside.
Where the turn up.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so when you're talking about making a pass, like you have to set a pass a couple turns before. You can't just go catch a person and say, boom, I'm gone, unless you're so much faster.
Unless you're 40, 50 mile an hour plus their speed. Yeah.
I mean, if you're 2 or 3 seconds faster than someone, it's not a tough track to pass on, but there's some of the best passing zones are really kind of more one line right now. So you really have to set a pass up. You know what I mean? Like if you can't get them into the S's and that's still hairy for a track day, unless, you know, you're advanced or something, then if it's me and Trey, then fine. Like I think that he'd be comfortable bypassing me inside, depending on where I did, if I did it early enough, right?
Yeah, passing into 8 is definitely a sketchy call if you don't know the rider in front of you.
Right, and you got to do it early, right? If not, I mean, even passing in the S's, it's a little tricky. It's a little hairy for a track day at this moment. But like, if you can set them up and just be on them and just get them in a 13, easy.
Yeah,
exactly. Why not just wait? You know, get them on the drive out of 11 and get them into 13. Like it's that kind of stuff is stuff you really need to learn at every track you go to. Is, you know, like what areas can I safely pass? Because you're at a track day, you're not in a race. You need to be riding no more than 90%. And to kind of top on what Trey said, you know, taking pictures, I got to see everything. So I saw quite a few people run some checkered flags, and I'm talking like half of the group was already pitted out, and you still ran a checkered flag. Like, not only did you not see the checkered flag, you didn't see the people in front of you pitting out. You didn't see like 10 people in pit out. Like, you really have to be riding way over your head to let that slip by. And like, to me, if I was working the event, I would have chewed your asses out, not because you delayed the next group 2+ minutes of their time, but because you're obviously riding way over your head because you didn't notice the pit out. I mean, I understand everybody runs checkered flags. I actually ran my first checkered flag the first time I was coaching because I was so focused on what was behind me that I didn't see anything in front of me. Todd made me pay $25 for me and all the riders behind me, but we'll talk about that at a different time.
Oh man. So enough of the negative stuff. I saw some really, really excellent riding this weekend while coaching. A couple of guys. Jason, wave at me.
Jason.
Oh, he's on the phone.
The camera.
That's all right. Jason really surprised me. I've never seen, Jason, I love you, don't take this wrong. I've never seen a Sasquatch ride a naked bike like that.
Oh my God, that's messed up.
Well, that's what he calls himself, Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But no, I was super, super impressed. I was kind of bummed that he didn't get to spend as much time on the Kawasaki as he wanted to, the bike that he just built. He had, I guess, some clutch issues to contend with, and some fixed rear set issues that he needs to get fixed. But I was super impressed with his riding. Now don't take that and run with it, Jason. Okay, that's not a license for you to go full send and watch your shit up. But I was very impressed with your riding. Russell Bourgeois, for y'all that may or may not know him. So he got off the 300 and got pretty serious about track riding and got himself a Ninja 400. And I think he beat his personal best every single session this weekend. And I'm super stoked about that. Russell, he's been putting in the time and the effort, and it really shows. It shows. He, I mean, he's almost. I've never ran less than a 207 on a small bike before. And I think he ran like a 205 or 204, something like that. So yeah,
I think he got a high 204. Like
Yeah.
I told him, I was like,
super
man,
stoked.
I might have to get me a 400 because he's about to beat my PR too.
Right.
He wanted
Yeah.
it so bad. Halfway through the day, he told me how good he was doing, and I'm like, dude, you're about to beat my PR. I was like, holy shit, my PR on my R3, I think it's like a 204.5, 204.6.
Yeah.
And he wanted it so bad. It was awesome.
So Cody Reed, I haven't had a chance to ride with Cody in probably almost a year. So Cody got, and I'm gonna put some business out there, and I hope he's not mad at me. So he got his A bump at a Trackday winter event, I think maybe like a little over a year ago, and he crashed twice on the same day. And he was just riding over his head. He got the A bump, and he thought to himself, hey, I got to go out here and I got to make sure I'm not in anybody's way. You know, I got to bust ass. I got to give it 110%. And he crashed twice that day. And he never really got over that. Never really got it. He slowed himself way down. I don't know if it was by choice or just due to fear, but I want to give him a shout out because I was really fucking impressed with his riding this weekend. Super impressed. Good job, Cody.
Yeah, Cody.
And sometimes that's how you have to do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes that process takes longer than you want to, or but you know, he probably did it the right way. You know, slowed down until he kind of learned some skills and picked up, you know, at a progressive pace, and you know, you can continue to expand off of that and to get better and faster. And not only that, like one of the key points is that when you ride safer, it's faster. I think that we kind of always miss that. We always worry about going fast, but if you go get some professional coaching, or if you work with like a really fast guy, and you have some private one-on-one conversations, they're going to talk about how to ride safer. And that is the fastest way, because think if you go crashing your brains out every weekend,
Exactly.
you're not going to go faster. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not Mark Marquez. I mean, look where he is now. Like how long it's taken for him to come back to possibly finally put it together, right? And he's at the very top of the fucking.
Yeah, he's at the pointy end of the stick.
Yeah. So, you know, we don't all have to be that. We all have to just kind of check our egos and figure out, like, hey, have goals. Not only have goals for every weekend, but have goals for, like, where do you want your riding to be? And be, you know, look, be realistic, be timely. You know, have short-term goals, have long-term goals. But you have to do that. But then every weekend, you have to try and go work on something to achieve that goal.
Exactly.
You know, and probably we haven't mentioned this, but I know that Trey and Donnie can probably both back me up on this. The faster you go, not only is it more expensive, but it's a lot more work. And sometimes that fun isn't so fun anymore. And you have to find a new way of how to do that. And sometimes it's coaching or giving back, or, you know, not going racing, or, hey, I'm just, you know, I don't want this or that. I'm just going to put some Q3s on and go rip and have a great time. And I'm going to learn how to drift the rear. I'm going to learn how to slide the front. You know, you can always work on things. It doesn't always mean that every weekend you're going to set your personal best. Because when you're working on stuff and you're truly using the track day for what it's meant to be, you're not going to set a personal best. And if you
Absolutely.
if you do some type of training or whatever, what you're going to do is you're going to work on stuff. You can do drills, all that for most of the day, and then you're going to maybe have 1 or 2 sessions at the end of the day to go rip and put a full lap in. So it's like, and that's where you can say, hey, did I really do my due diligence? Did I really train? Did I really work on what I said I was going to work on? Did I really do that? And then at the end of the day, you should be able to put that all together. So sometimes that's what we have to do. At least at a track day, like the first half of the day, like just go focus on some stuff, go work on some techniques, go work on a corner or two. And if you want to go rip right after lunch, first session after lunch, let it rip, right? The track should be most ideal at that point anyway, and you should be at your warmest, especially you're not going to be wore out physically or mentally if you didn't go rip every session in the first half of the day, which you shouldn't anyway.
And some people, and I think it's important to note this, that not everybody wants to go ride the track to go fast. Like some people just, like when I say fast, I mean balls to the wall fast. Some people just want to go out and ride their bike faster than they can legally do on the street, or they want to go out and test their skills in a place that's safe for them, and that's 100% okay. It's not a competition. Like there's no. Now, see, me personally, I mean, I can't count how many track days I've done. I can't count them on all the fingers and toes in my house. And so I've done that. I've done days where it's just go out and make laps. On a rainy day, I'll ride in the rain. Doesn't matter what session, what day. I make it a point. To say I'm going ride. As a matter of fact, one of the last NCM events we did, I was coaching intermediate and it stormed. And actually, they called it for lightning, and then they ended up letting us go back out on track after lunch. And I was the only bike on track for that whole session. Just me, just out there cutting hot laps in the wet. I mean, medium laps, but you know what I mean.
Cold laps.
I know. Well, that's a great point because almost every track day that we've had this year, it's rained.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
this weekend is a fluke, man.
and I mean that weekend at NCM, Trey, and that was a great weekend. And I think Sunday it was supposed to rain all day and it ended up kind of clearing up in the afternoon and being really nice in the afternoon. But we were and NCM was talking about an amazing track. I mean that thing dried up and it had so much. I think we both set a personal best that afternoon after the rain.
I think so. Yeah. 57.
So, but it just goes to show that, and I think I was coaching in advanced, you were in an intermediate, and both out there having to ride. And in advanced, everyone was out there in rains. I was on Q4s, I think.
Yeah.
But it's still,
I think
Q4s in the wet. Ooh, that's rough.
I think I was on Pirelli TD.
But it was just one of those things like, hey, like, just go put the laps in and see where you are. But I learned to get more comfortable with the bike sliding and moving around because I'm on Q4s. And even if I was in rains, the bike is going to constantly move. So if you haven't ridden on rains, one thing to consider is that the bike is going to constantly move because it's hydroplaning. It's getting rid of water, so it's going to be constantly moving.
Grip, no grip. Grip, no grip.
Yeah,
100 times a second.
And you don't ride any different in the rain. You just have to be smooth. Like the consequence for not being smooth is crashing.
Yep.
But you ride no different. Like there's no different technique to riding in the rain than there is on a hot sunny day.
Yeah. Inputs are just slower and smoother.
Yeah, I mean, just look, the traction level is down here, right? You still have 100 traction points, but instead of being here, now it's here, right?
Right.
And so, but you ride no different. You still same brake application, same throttle application. You're doing all the same, turn points. Your points will change a little bit. But how you're looking through the corner, all that stuff, lifting the bike up, none of that changes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get in a rain at NCM.
Russell says he ran a 2:04.7. So
oh shit!
I know I got you by at least a 10th. And he gave me a little shout out. He says, I had an excellent bike and suspension builder help me. I appreciate the opportunity. It was a blast building that 400, would you? Especially drinking the brake fluid. So I was drinking Corona one night and we bled his new, I think we put a master cylinder on or something. So we bled the shit out of it into an empty Corona bottle, and it was sitting on the fucking workbench. And dude, I shit you not, I grabbed it and took a fucking huge swig of it.
Oh god!
And as soon as it hit my mouth, oh my god, it was. I probably washed my mouth out with Dawn dish soap for like the next 10 minutes. It was fucking terrible.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it was bad.
It's some pretty corrosive stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. David says he's coming after my PR. After that, I'm taking down Tyson's. Go for it, man. We need more people in the 40s at NOLA to push us into the 40s.
Hey, man, I need to, dude, give me 1 weekend at NOLA right now, right? With what I just learned, and 49, 48s, here we come. 100%. 100%.
Danny says, Brian helped me remember to use my legs and core during heavy braking. And
Yes.
Dean helped me with pointing out markers. Very good, very good. That's definitely important. If you don't use your legs and core during braking, then your arms are going to give out very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, Chad says, so now that I'm in intermediate, what would I need to look for? So I'm gonna let that segue into kind of something I wanted to talk about tonight. That helped me really bridge the gap between like a mid-intermediate pace and advanced. So if you've never listened to the Ken Hill podcast and you're really serious about getting fast and consistent, the Ken Hill podcast, there's no better teaching tool out there, in my opinion. Especially like the first 15 of them, he goes over what he calls fundamentals of the sport. And he'll do like an 8 to 12 minute podcast on that one topic. And at the end of it, and what I did to help me is I would listen to one of those on my way to the track in the morning, and I would say, this is what I'm going to work on today. And what I would do is I would create a report card for myself. And so when you come in after your session, you sit down and you look at this report card and you grade yourself based on how you did, what you could have done better, things of that nature. And so to give you an example, one would be vision, because in my opinion, vision is what I work on first session of every day, every time I go out on track. So am I hitting my vision markers? Am I looking to where I need to be looking? So you're going through the turn. Are you staring at the apex too long? Are you at the apex of the turn and looking down at the apex? So many people do it and they don't even realize they're doing it. Like I'll be behind somebody watching their helmet and I'm like, what is he looking at? He's past the apex and he's still like, no, that's not how you ride. I know Trey posted a video with Alberto Nasca. Great video for you to watch about vision. But the point of what I'm getting at here is that you can't worry about going fast until you have the fundamentals down, because all it's going to do is make you crash and you're not going to learn. You're just going to go out there and instead of riding at like 75 to 90%, you're going to go out and you're going to ride at 110% so that you can go faster. So not only are you being more dangerous yourself, you're being more dangerous to others too. And you're just not going to improve. That's just my opinion on it. I'm not saying this is fact. It's just my opinion. So, work on vision, work on throttle application, work on brake application, work on bike placement. Bike placement is rarely talked about and it's so important. Where is your bike on the entry to the turn? Where is your bike at the slowest part of the turn? Are you at those parts every lap? Because if your bike is where it needs to be at the slowest part of the turn every lap, then you're going to be exiting the turn every lap, which will then set you up into the entry for the next turn the same every lap. And it's that consistency that allows you to work on those fundamentals and get better until you're there, until you're running within a second of your lap time. And it doesn't have to be fast. If you're running 225s, that's a great pace, but you need to be running 225s every lap, or 224s or 226s. You can't run 225 and 230. That's not how you improve, because you're not consistent enough to work on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of key points there too. I think that your vision is one of the most important things, because if you don't have that, you can only go so far without your vision, your reference points, and things like that. And the second point is that I was having a conversation with Ken Hill and Valentine the Beast one time. And Ken Hill asked, he was trying to point out something to me about vision. And what vision does is it makes sure you have the right bike placement, right? And why is bike placement right so important is because if you don't have your bike at the right place at the apex, you're not going to have it at the right place on the exit point. And that's most important, right? So the most important thing is being able to have your exit point down, because you draw your line backwards, right? So it's all about throttle and acceleration. The key to a fast lap time is who can accelerate the longest, the hardest, right? So who can get full throttle the longest. And he asked Valentin the Beast that question, and so he's French, so it's kind of a little bit of a language barrier. But basically, the thing that the Valentin responded to Ken's question was the most important thing is bike placement. You have to have vision and motor skills to get there. But the most important thing is bike placement. Can you put the bike at the apex, the same place, pointed in the right direction, the same time every time? And when you can do that, you can go around track safer. You can also go around it faster.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a regular track guy and even somebody like a Moto America guy. That's the difference between us. I would include the Moto America guys in us.
Yeah,
that's the difference between us and MotoGP. If you were, I think there's a video out that shows Marquez's lap. There's a lap that he does like last year, and they compared it. They ran it side by side with the lap that he did the previous year, and everything is identical in every turn. And I think it was like 0.02 of a second lap time difference, and everything was exactly the same. But that consistency is what allows him to be at the top of the level. And that's something that even myself, I need to work on, especially longer turns, like turn 3, turn 4. I'll find little variations every lap. I'll find, I'll be maybe a foot out wider, or I'll get on the gas maybe 2 foot earlier, or it's something like that. And maybe that's why I'll hit a barrier right now. And I just need to back up a little more and work on that. There's always something to work on.
Yeah, a lot of the times that's what you got to do to go faster at the end of the day. Because if you're out there and you're riding at 100% to try to set a new PR, odds are you're not going to be at your most consistent, and you can't allow that to become the normal. If you're out there on track and you're doing 3 or 4 laps and your pace is differing by more than 2 seconds, then you're going too fast. You really are. Either your mind's not in the game, or something's wrong and you need to slow down, because, if you're not hitting markers and you're not consistent, then you're either riding over your head or something's wrong.
Yeah. And something that I would something I want to make super clear for the newer riders. So as you start, right, once as you progress through the ranks of novice, intermediate, and advanced, and even into like the early stages of advanced riders, the slower you're going, once you start to pick things up, it's going to be large chunks of time. But once you get to like, let's say, mid-pack A group pace, it becomes hard. Like now you're fighting to make a second over the entire lap. You're fighting for 1 second. And even if you get to upper intermediate pace, half a second is almost unattainable. Like it's difficult to explain, but just don't expect to make, once you like intermediate, upper intermediate, don't expect to knock off huge chunks of time. Like Russell did, this weekend, it's half a second at a time, half a second. Don't go out there and get discouraged because, you ran a 2:15 and that was your personal best last track day. And then you come out and now you're running 2:17s consistently. That's if a 2:15 is your best lap time and you're running consistent 2:17s, that's good, right? It may be something environmental. It may be the amount of rubber that's on the track to give you traction. It may be that you had a better tire on back then. But don't get discouraged if you go out and you get stonewalled and you're stuck. You just gotta.
It's definitely
new skills.
It's definitely peaks and valleys and lots of plateaus in there also.
Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
Especially once you start going fast, then those extra seconds, they cost big money. $400 for a set of slicks, or $1,200 for a rear shock. an Olin shock, or $1,000 worth of cartridges and a fork, and another $400 to have them installed.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
600 for a flash and tune.
Oh man! Woo. So for those of you that don't
I'm just gonna
know,
let everybody think it was 600 because that's a better number.
so
It was more than that.
for everyone that
gonna be
doesn't
more than that,
understand that, Trey's about to get his R1 flashed.
Will you take me
no,
up there?
Don't go telling everybody. Don't go telling everybody.
So when he comes back, in December or wherever, and says he got into the 40s, we can all say he.
That it was the bike holding me back, right?
Well, you know what? There is a little bit of that from when you're on a 1000. Those things are so restricted that there's some truth to that. I mean, look, I had mine dynoed and flashed, and I can tell you, I seen it. Like there's, especially in the lower gears, like you're coming off our corner in second gear and you're giving it 80% throttle, you're only getting 60% throttle. So like
it's worse than that on the R1. I've seen the tables.
Yeah, I mean
I can't wait to see you I want to be there when you come in from your first session. I want to see your face. Well, no, you're gonna be NCM shit.
And that's the first time that I'll be riding it after the Flash is on track at NCM. And
Yeah,
they got a pretty
that's gonna be a good track.
Oh, so you're gonna have it for Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
So we're leaving Thursday night. We're gonna drive straight through to St. Louis. We're gonna grab a hotel room in St. Louis, and then Friday morning get up, bring the bike to him, have him flash it first, and then it's gonna take several hours for him to tune it up right. And then from there, load everything back up and head straight to NCM.
That's right, Brandon. He is going to be leaving rubber lines everywhere
That's
because I'm
exciting.
pushing him to trust his traction control.
That's exciting. I'm looking forward to it, Trey.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm only riding at NCM, so.
I wish I could come, but even if I could ride 100%, I haven't broke 2 minutes there yet, so I wouldn't be able to keep up with y'all anyway. That track, there's a big difference between a 600 and 1,000.
Yeah, because
pretty big difference. There's a guy there that rides a pretty built R1 that him and I were very close the first 2 times I went there, and then I don't know what happened. Like a light bulb went off in his head, and now he's like 5 seconds faster. I can't keep up with him anymore.
Who?
He coaches now. He coached there the last time I was there.
Ryan Feeney.
A blue R1, super cool dude.
He's got an R1 and R6.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
He's got
I think the R1 actually has carbon wheels.
Oh, you're talking about the dude who owns the dude who owns a shop.
No, I'm not talking about Chris. No.
Not Chris? Not Starsky?
No, it's a different guy. His bike is all carbon. I'm talking about the dude with the blue. I don't know his name because we've only ever seen him at NCM. Anyway.
Not Vosnik. Not Tim.
No, he don't have a newer R1.
He's slow, man.
Yeah.
You said R1. He had R1 at one point. I don't know.
His was yellow, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it.
Man.
Definitely looking forward to NCM.
So, and then, I just kind of want to say something. So we talk a lot about novice intermediate, and I don't know if anybody, so I saw Brandon Martin's on here. He's the mid-advanced pack rider, came to advanced last year, has made a lot of progress. And so I want to talk about advanced and improving as an advanced rider and kind of what's worked for me, especially going into racing and having a little bit of success there. So, where was I going with this? Oh, so the first thing that gave me a lot of time after I hit a wall around like 55s at NOLA, maybe 54s, was reducing my coasting. It was huge. You feel like you're not coasting when you get to a certain level, but then you watch your GoPro footage. So I had one GoPro looking forward and I had one GoPro looking at my right hand, so I could physically see and not only hear if I was coasting. And I think in one lap I had like 12 seconds of coasting on average. And my goal for that next weekend after that was to completely eliminate that. And I instantly picked up probably 2 seconds that weekend. And kind of going back to what Trey said, riding with no coasting takes way more effort. So it was definitely a lot more tiring. So reducing my coasting was great. And then I think second to that, especially at NOLA, because that was my home track, was going and riding outside of my comfort zone like every other session. So I'm not saying I went out and rode at 110%, but I pushed my braking markers a little deeper than I usually would. I would get on the throttle a little quicker than I usually would, because what you have to understand is the slowest part of the turn is set. You can't change that. At the slowest part of the turn, you have to be going a speed every lap. If you put Cameron Bobier on a, or Jake Gagne on his super bike at NOLA, him and I are probably going to go the same speed in turn 3 at the slowest part, about 40 mile an hour roughly, because that's what the turn dictates.
Right.
How you get there and how you get away from there is what separates those guys from us normal advanced guys. And so pushing those limits is what I'm talking about when you get outside your comfort zone. It's pushing your brake marker a little deeper so that you have to brake a little harder. Are you going to get the turn right? Probably not, but it's a learning experience. You have to get comfortable with that. And it's not something that you master the first time you try it. You have to go, you have to try it. Oh, I overslowed the turn. Maybe I don't need to brake so hard, even though I pushed my brake marker, you know? So next time I come in, I brake. Nope, maybe not quite as hard at the peak of my brake power. And then coming out of the turn, you know, just learning to trust my bike and the traction control, and learning how it feels when the rear starts to slip a little bit. Learning, hey, I got on the throttle too fast here, and what that did is it delayed me getting to wide open throttle. And as an advanced rider, that is probably the biggest concept that helped me not only get faster, but exit a turn safely. It's not about who gets on the throttle first. I race with people that are on the throttle literally half a second faster than me, but I can guarantee you I'm at wide open throttle before they are even close to wide open throttle, because while they're trying to continue to stay on the track, my bike is now pointed where it needs to go, and I'm at wide open throttle.
Right. You're gassing out.
So that's something that was a really hard concept for me. Turn 4 at NOLA is turn 4 and turn 16 is probably the best two examples of that. If you get on the gas too fast in 14, it's just going to start throwing you over to the left, and you're going to be stuck at like 50% throttle for a long time. Same with 16 too. If you're trying to get going down that straightaway and you get on it a little too quick, you're going to get thrown out over the curb, the cobblestones or whatever it is out there. And you're going to have to get off the gas, or you're going to run into the wall. So, I mean, yeah, just wanted to throw a little tips out from my perspective on maybe if you're, you know, just got into advanced and you want to know what's kind of worked for us. I don't know if Trey and Dean want to add anything.
Well, I agree with you saying, and actually there's a video that really illustrates that real good. And it's also from Alberto Nasca.
I get on the gas and I get on the gas like these.
Yeah,
like
but
watch it like these.
He actually builds like a 2D representation of, you know, it's one corner, but he illustrates the two different possible lines. You know, basically making a U-shaped line versus making a V-shaped line. We're talking about a bigger bike, 600, 1000. And it goes through all the little nuances of each line and shows you in terms of video, like as in time, how that makes you faster, and how pointing the bike up track sooner by V in the turnoff makes you faster, especially in, you know, any turn that kind of takes real time to get through. Like Donnie was saying, 3, 4, 14, 16. And that's something that I'm going to work on next time we go to NOLA. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what else did you? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you're talking about improving, you know, I'm a big proponent of you have to have a game plan, and you know, you have to go out there and you have to stick to your game plan and say, I'm going to go work on this. If I'm going out there and I'm going to work on something and Trey comes by me, I can't go. I can't go play with Trey. Like that's not the
Yeah,
time for me to do that, you know. And look, it's hard, you know what I mean? Like it's hard. Like a lot of times when you got your buddies out there and you got all the same pace, or this one's a little bit faster, or here or there, whatever it is, like you always want to go play.
Yeah.
But you have to be honest with yourself and what is your goals? You just want to go have fun? Then hey, I'm going with
Go
Trey.
have fun.
Yeah. If you want to try and make some improvements and go faster, then sometimes you have to work on some stuff. And in the afternoon, hey, let's go play. Because then that gives you an opportunity to try and put all that together. Because like Donnie said, anytime you're going to work on something, there's going to be moments where you got to put yourself in a little bit of uncomfort zone, right? You have to get your heart rate up. You have to do something that's going to get you a little bit uncomfortable, because that's the only way to go into a corner faster, to come out of it faster, to carry more lean angle. Anything you do is going to make you a little bit uncomfortable. It's going to pump your heart rate up a little bit, and those are the things you have to do. But it's best to do that on your own. It's best to do that with no pressure from anyone else. Trying to go follow someone else while you're trying to work on something, that's a disaster for a crash, right? So you just have to just set your goals and figure out what you want to do, and I think that if you put together the sessions in the morning at a minimum, maybe even the first session after lunch, because that's a lot of times where there's a lot of crashes that happen. You're lethargic, you just had lunch, you just took a nap, you're waking up, and then you're trying to go 100%. Give it to the second session after lunch, and then go have some fun and trying to put everything together that you worked on that day and go apply that. You worked on 2 or 3 corners all day long, now go put it together on a lap and see what you can do. And chances are, if you do that, you're going to make some progress.
Absolutely.
You're going to hit, look, there's going to be peaks, there's going to be valleys, and there's going to be plateaus, and you just have to stick with it. If you hit a plateau, then, you just have to keep grinding, and that next step is probably going to be a chunk. We talk about like chunks of time come, and all of a sudden it's just like you're fighting for half a second, a couple of tenths here or there. But sometimes when you hit a plateau, it's a big jump out of that. It's a second or two out of that. Almost no matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
Not talking about MotoGP and stuff like that, but
and it's really different skills that you master. Like
when you learn a certain skill in one corner, it translates over other corners. So on a track like NOLA, we got 16 corners. You gain 2 tenths here, and that translates over 4 corners. That's 8 tenths.
Right. And really, so me personally, my entire track riding career has been comprised of light bulb moments. For instance, I was coaching, I think intermediate, and I was on the baby bike. I was coaching on the R3, and I had to chase somebody down. And this was at NOLA, and he was on a 600, I think, and there was absolutely no way I was going to catch this guy unless I went wide open throttle, balls to the wall through the S's on the R3. When I say wide open throttle, I mean never checked up from turn 7 to the braking marker for 13. And that was a light bulb moment. Like, holy shit, I just did that. Yeah, my heart was racing and pumping. Like, I don't know if I'll make it. And it just worked out. So that was a light bulb moment. And I mean, I'm not the fastest, but I'm pretty decent in the S's. And then more recently, we did a track day at Harvard. And I think I maybe touched on this last week or last video we did, but there's a section of the track where it's really, really fast. And then you go into a downhill turn, and it's downhill. Like you come out of the preceding turn, and it's a baby straight, and you're 130, 140 miles an hour, and you have to brake downhill for a left hairpin. And like I had to get out of my comfort zone, and additionally, this was also the first time I'd ridden the R1 on that track. So the speed differential is huge, when you switch bikes. But so I was way out of my comfort zone and ended up getting comfortable braking at that level. And then look at NOLA this last track day, and I'm braking. Donnie snapped a picture of me braking for turn 3, and I got my foot on the ground, bike's leaned over, the rear's floating in the air, and I'm calm as a cucumber. My heart rate never got above like 95. So
Yeah, right.
That's what I
really
meant.
didn't.
Well, like 120, 130, 140.
Yeah, 130s maybe. Maybe not. Who knows?
Wasn't even breaking a sweat, dude.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, it's because
It's
it's
just-
cool outside.
Right. No, it's turn 3 is a great turn to work on, and
It
like
is.
like Donnie was saying, you may end up braking too hard and over slowing, or you may blow the turn. But turn 3, number 1, is smooth, and number 2, it's got a bit of pavement outside of track limits before you get into the grass. So if you totally fuck it up, it's not an instant you're going to crash. So yeah, turn 3 is the place where you can really practice on hard braking. But yeah, by the way, dude, that picture was fantastic.
It was fantastic. But also to Trey, to your point, turn 3 is one of those corners where, because the slow point is so slow, like you can, like, there's been times where I've just completely blew it, stuck with it, made the corner at, again, maybe offline where I wanted to be or whatever, but maybe I lost like 2/10 of a second. Like, whoop-de-doo, like I blew the corner and I'm still on track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't give up on it. So don't give up if you blow it and the thing gets sideways, rear comes up and doesn't want to steer, whatever the case is, stick with it, be patient. There's plenty of time to get the bike stopped, slow, and point in the turn, because it's like Donnie said, it's a 40 mile an hour at the slowest point in the corner. And I don't care who you are, you're within 5 miles an hour, guaranteed, right there. Slowest part of the corner. So
I'm slower than that. I think even leaned over. So taking into account the gearing change, even leaned over, the bike only shows like 37 miles an hour at my slowest point of turn 3.
I've been behind you with the data logger, and you're 40 miles an hour, 41, 42 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because
I'm 38 there. It's
yeah,
probably
I've been through there at 39 miles an hour where you're in front of me, and you on entry, like you're faster on entry. So I mean, it's like boom, like on the exit, we're the same thing on the exit.
Yeah.
But right there, like on entry, we're the same thing. Going to the turn. Yeah,
So,
you do.
While we're talking about this turn 3, turn 4 area, I want to show everyone one of my laps. This is my fastest, my PR of a lap at a track day at NOLA. So it's pretty good pace. Well, I'm gonna make sure I got okay. So it should have the sound too. So
Are we gonna get to see the whole thing?
what I want to I don't want to do all that now. All right. So right now we're on the straightaway entering into 3. So we're coming out of 2, going into 3, and so we were talking about coasting. Up here you can see the video of my hand, the throttle, and the brake. So we'll go back 10 seconds to kind of, and what I want y'all to see first is how much time I spend coasting. So as you can see there,
There is none.
So my braking marker for turn 3 is the end of the service road right here. So that's hitting my braking marker about as good as I can. And now I take a pretty unique line into 3. I like to kind of dive in towards the inside curb at the beginning instead of taking a swoopy. So like most people right here are still going sort of around the turn, if you will. And I like to really attack this inside curb right here and hold it in tight. That's just my personal preference.
Because you can get back on the throttle soon. Like you're already back on the throttle, right? You opening the throttle right now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm already through my slowest part of the turn, and I'm already back getting to that maintenance throttle like Dean's talking about. So like Trey, I don't know about Dean, but I know Trey crosses this middle seam. That's okay. I'm not saying that's bad. Everybody's got a little different.
I don't cross it.
Here I'm already back to full throttle, and you can see again, I don't really coast any there. So like I'm going from the throttle straight to the brake, diving into the inside seat. So look here, this is why a lot of times when I tell people how do you do 3 and 4, I won't tell you unless you're like at least advanced, because to properly do these turns you have to trail brake. Right here I'm almost at full lean and I'm still braking, because that's how you have to take these turns properly in order to get your bike turned. As soon as I let go of the brake, I'm back on maintenance throttle. And then so going back to what I was saying, driving out of the turn, getting to wide open throttle, right now, my bike, it's sort of hard to tell with what the angle of the GoPro is on my bike. My bike is still not quite turned where it needs to go, so I don't really give it gas. So if we go back to the apex, which is about somewhere in here, you can kind of see that I don't really get on the gas super early coming out of the turn.
You gotta wait. You don't apply the gas until you're happy with your direction.
And so what I see, I took a lot of pictures in this turn on Sunday. What I see so many people doing here is rushing the exit of this turn. And so right here, instead of being right next to this curb, a lot of people are out here in the middle of the track. Well, you can't increase the amount of throttle you're giving the bike if you're not in here and tight. So you can see also as I'm driving out of the turn, look how much track I have left over here to the left. You don't need to use all that to be fast. The only reason I come all the way to the left is so that I have a good entry into 5.
Right.
So that's something I really wanted to touch on that I saw through the weekend that I saw people really not doing a great job of, is rushing the exit of turn 4. And it really slows you down more than anything.
Well, and part of that, if you're pausing, the main, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. The main reason people run wide in turn 4 is because it's so long and they want to get on the gas sooner and it pushes them wide. So they have to get off the gas for the next lap. And then, you know, they keep adjusting and adjusting and they can't find the right point to start giving it gas. And that's just it. You have to break deep into that turn to help the bike steer. And then you have to wait until the bike is pointed up track to get on the gas, or it's going to run you wide every lap.
Exactly.
Yeah. So being a little more
So, until my bike is pointed where it needs to go, I don't give it more throttle. And that's really the key point I'm trying to push here, more than the line itself with that video, is that it's a huge game changer, not only for your pace and your lap times, but for your safety. The odds of you high siding when you ride that way is very, very little. Right. I've had 0 high sides since let me knock on wood. I've had 0 high sides from track day and racing because I really follow that one principle. I have gotten lucky a couple times, but well, you know, that happens.
I got lucky at Barber in the wet. There's a spot coming out of one of the back chicanes, wet. There's a spot where there's a little hill. And right as the bike was at the top of that hill, where the tires were unloaded, the bike's up, you know, the suspension's extended and all. And I wasn't really on the gas. I was just basically maintenance throttle plus 8%. And it it whipped around so hard that I was looking at the tail of the bike. And then, and really I can confidently say the only thing that saved that crash was the fact that I ride in the wet so much. And I know not to chop the throttle, not to give it more, just to stay steady. If I'm on the front wheel, right, that's my steer wheel. The back can do whatever the fuck it wants to do, right? But if I'm smooth up front, then it'll eventually, because it's a gyro, it'll eventually, straighten itself back out. And that's something you can only learn with practice, with lots and lots of laps. But yeah, that's the biggest butt pucker moment I've ever had in the wet, was at Barber recently.
Shane says the hole in his leather said that's a lie, talking about you coming into turn 3. So that was a good time to bring that up.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Jason said, yeah, your leg dangled right around his ass.
I did not. Jason said that. Jason's lying. I would never encourage hoonigan bullshit on a racetrack. Never, not ever.
Leg dangling is not hoonigan bullshit. It provides stability on the bike.
It does.
You can actually brake deeper and harder with your leg off the bike.
Yep.
Right. And there's physics. There's advanced level physics involved with that we're not going to discuss here. But I can tell you what it feels like, but until you do it and feel the benefits of it, it's like speaking Chinese to a Vietnamese person.
And
Don't
Jason
make any
says
sense.
bullshit. And Brandon Martin said, yes, you did. So I guess that's two people against one. I'm not going to say I have picture proof of anything.
If there's no video proof, the shit didn't happen. Okay.
All right. So we're coming up on an hour and a half here. Would like to cut it off there. So does anybody have any questions, any topics y'all want us to touch on real quick? I know we've kind of been all over the place. Hope it was helpful. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Looks like Dean's party left him. He might be riding home alone.
No, I drove. Jason's still sitting over there.
Yeah.
There he is.
Taking it in
I
there.
like it. Die hard.
He's actually listening to it live too, watching live. So
Nice.
All right, so we got a question here. I'm not sure who this is. Vic Seek ask. Sprocket selection. What criteria have you used to select gear drive ratios, and do you change it up for different tracks?
Yes and no.
Yes, definitely. I'll go first. So you have to do it. You can either take someone else's advice, someone that's got a bunch of laps there on a similar bike as you at a similar pace, or you'll have to go do laps. And if you're happy with your shift points, where you're at per turn, in the rev range, where you need to shift, based on the corner, if all of those things jive well, then yeah, you can use the sprockets that you have. But if you find yourself in a slower turn, but first gear is too twitchy, but second gear you're lugging down some, then you can shorten your gear ratio a little bit by adding a tooth on the rear, and that'll bring your revs up in second gear just a bit to maybe be a little closer to the power band where you need it. It's something that you just have to play with. There's no right and wrong answer. It depends on your rider, your level, your skill level, your pace, what bike you're on. It's infinite variables. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say yes and no. I mean, for sure, like you get to a certain pace, you're changing everything. Well, not everything. You're definitely changing.
Per track.
Could change gearing per track. Could even do some spring changes on suspension and whatnot. But again, you're talking at a different level. But yeah, for sure. Like I mean, I just changed the gearing. I just went to a 520 on my bike, and changed gearing, and definitely geared wrong for NOLA. Was having to go through the S's in third gear, and it was so twitchy that I'd hit a bump and it would literally like either roll off or roll on the throttle. So I'm going through the S's like this. Once you hit a bump, it's like wah, 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 and the bike's like wah, wah, wah. So yeah, for sure. But sure, a learning curve, right? Like I had just changed the gearing. That gearing is going to probably work for most tracks that we go to outside of NOLA. Just didn't quite work for NOLA. I mean, like I said, and the main issue was just through the S's. Fourth gear was too luggy, and third gear was too high. So, and then again, I mean, like if I was going faster or going slower, that it may just
work out.
Right, exactly. So you also have to always consider that too. And if you're a guy who has multiple gearing, you go to different tracks. You may start the weekend on one gearing, go to a different gearing, and end up right back at the other gearing. And as a racer, Donnie for sure can tell you do that all the time.
You got to be willing to put that work in, to swap that sprocket every other session.
I wish I was in the garage so I could like hold up my bag with like 6 sprockets in it.
No, I mean, again, so we're talking about the faster you go, the more work it is. And that's the kind of work that we're talking about, where you could potentially have to just swap sprockets because you go there, you might be slower, but it don't feel right. You make a change, you get up to speed, and then that gearing doesn't work, and you got to go either up a tooth or down a tooth again. It could be right back where you started.
I mean, at Road Atlanta, I've even changed rear sprocket based on if I think I'm going to be drafting people
in a race for sure.
It comes down to stuff like that when you're trying to get every 10th you can. Like if Tyson shows up that weekend and I know I'm going to be drafting his ass or trying to draft his ass, then I'll run a 41 rear. Whereas if I'm out there by myself, a lot of times I'll throw a 42 on. So I think Dean and Trey answered that perfect. The only thing I will add, so you asked what criteria have you used? I think Trey said it best. Just ask. If whatever Trackday organization you're going to ride with, go to their page on Facebook and say, hey, look, I'm on a Yamaha R6. What gearing do y'all run? For an advanced pace or intermediate pace, ask around. That's probably the best way to get the best starting point possible.
Yeah,
Trey hit it on the head there. From my perspective, racer perspective, I would recommend that you have at least 3 rear sprockets at about 2 teeth different apiece. So have you like a 41, a 43, and a 45, because at some point in time, you're probably going to need them. So you might as well just get it so that you don't end up at a track where you're banging your rev limiter. And it doesn't have to be like Road Atlanta where you're banging rev limiter and 6 at the kink on the back straight. It could be Barber where you're banging 4th gear going into Charlotte's Web and you can't shift to 5th because then you have to downshift 3 times into the turn or something like that. Or you're only upshifting for like a split second. So in that case, you want to, go down a 2s too.
Getting longer.
So in cases like that, especially at a track day where every 10th doesn't matter and you want to make sure your bike stays reliable, it's good to just throw on the longer gear. So I would highly recommend just grabbing 2 spare rear sprockets. Let's see. Chain says, Trey's tip on hand placement on the end of the grips helped me get back to smoothing out my throttle control after almost 8 months off. That may be a good tip to share for everyone.
That's part of the little mini video series that I put in the LA Track Addicts, I don't know, about a year ago. And it discusses in detail hand placement on the throttle grip and why I do it the way I do it. I can maybe link that video somewhere, or I mean, we can go over it here if you want. I don't know how much time you want to spend tonight.
Or we could save it for the next one.
Yeah, we can always do that.
Might be a good topic for the next one.
Yeah.
So
And that,
if y'all are curious on hand placement, go to Trey's Facebook, and it should be
it's
under
in LA
videos.
Track Addicts.
LA Track Addicts, sorry. There we go.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Dallas says he needs to work on gear changes. He never does that.
He also needs a quick shifter. I know you said you don't need one earlier, but a quick shifter is no real skill involved, but it's a track like NOLA where there's 16 corners and you're doing 30 gear shifts per lap or whatever it is. I mean, that's worth a second or two, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you, in my opinion, once you get to an advanced pace, a quick shifter is more than just shortening the shift time. It allows the bike to stay stable on corner exit. Which I think, like I remember when Dean, we were at NCM and his went out, and like NCM is one of those tracks where you're like full lean over shit.
Grabbing shifts. Yeah.
And I mean, having to let off the gas to do that, no
I
thanks.
can't ride without a quick shifter. I mean, just trying to roll off and shift and all that, especially at lean, the bike's like.
Yeah. No, going down a straight, I have a great Translogic quick shifter, so I can't really talk, but going down a straight, you don't really need it.
No.
I mean, there's still a couple tenths there.
I guess
especially when you're not used to it, right? So I mean, like if you're dialing and you ride without one, then you're probably a lot better. Me, I've always had one, or for the last X amount of years, I can't ride without one. I'm literally so much slower without it because I just can't do that good enough.
When I was at Jennings, God, I can't remember his name. One of the guys that was there, we were there on a Friday on a 3-day weekend. It was the weekend the hurricane stormed out the Sunday. And he didn't ride all weekend because his auto blip didn't work.
I mean, I can get around auto blip.
That's just
I
how
mean, I would ride
on the bike
I'd ride.
auto blip, So I mean, it's just
See,
I understand it.
Yeah, there's a couple turns at a couple tracks where auto blip is almost necessary. I would say the last right-hander before the straight at Barber, where the radius really, really tightens up on you and you're braking and downshifting at almost full lean. A blip really helps there. Another one
Bus
really
stop at NCM.
NCM, well, not just the bus stop, but I think that's turn 6.
Yeah, Yep.
I think it's turn 6.
Well, you're kind of breaking up and down there though.
It depends on how fast you go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're leaning over a little bit, but for sure.
To right, the second to last right, where you're going through the long swoopy right, and then you've got like the double apex left to the straight. Follow, you know where I'm at?
Yeah. At NCM?
Yeah, that one I can't downshift on my bike, and I need to.
Where?
So
The
you
right-hander?
Yeah, you're going up the
Yeah.
hill, and then it's a long downhill right-hander.
Right.
And then as you're going into the next right-hander right there, you're still leaned over.
Oh, yeah.
I can't shift down right there without like upsetting the shit out of it. Same with Barber, the last
Yeah.
right-hander. I need to shift down, but I don't because I've lost the rear so many times when I do it. I'm like, not worth the risk.
Yeah.
So
I just got flipper on the
Try, you know what I mean, modulating the clutch along with the trailing the clutch with the brake lever. You know what I mean? Just like a dirt bike guy.
Yeah,
Unless
that's
they
a
have to
skill I need to
flip.
work on
Boom.
Yeah, me
Trail it
too.
off into the corner.
because I can't manually blip. It fucks up my braking too much. I don't have that skill. So I either need to work on it or just accept the fact that I'm going to be slow, or just get on an R6. I mean, you know.
I mean, I just now got auto blip, so like I don't, especially after Atlanta, I still don't really trust it. I need to learn to trust it. But it shifts so easy now. Like I can just go boom, 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 and like it's crazy. Like it shifted good before, but now since it's been set up by a professional, like the things shift. So like I just have to like say, hey, I want you to backshift, baby, and she just backshifts.
Just talk sweet nothings in her ear.
I mean, dude, if I just say, hey, I just touch the throttle, the thing starts going forward. It was the first couple of sessions at NOLA was scary. It was so scary.
Fucking wait.
It was like I would literally go from the brakes to the throttle and just like grip the throttle and the thing would lurch forward. I was like, baby, hold on, I'm not ready yet. But yeah, no, I mean, all that stuff. I mean, we're talking about, you know, going to the next level, but like when you go to an auto blip, it takes some time to get used to that because I'm used to being in control and modulating. And if I mess up, then fine, I'm already there. You know what I mean? But like on an auto blip, you backshift, like you're expecting it to nothing to happen. So if something happens, it's almost like an oh shit moment, even though it's probably fine. Just for me, I don't have enough experience with it, but I love it. Like I don't ever want to ride without it. We can say it's a rider aid or a rider clutch or whatever, but these bikes have so much power that like I'm okay with that. I want that. I want traction control. I want wheelie control. I want slide control. I want all that.
Well,
like
you want to be able to shift full throttle when you're at 30 degrees lean, without knowing that you're going to make the rear end whip around on you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when it does, I mean, it shifts like butter, dude.
Yeah. I can't wait, bro. They smoothed out everything.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
I didn't really understand that at NOLA because I don't think, at least at the pace I was at the time, I don't think the quick shifter was necessary. But when I went to NCM, I was like, God, you need this. Like, holy shit. Especially when Dane didn't have it. It was like an eye opener. Like, yeah, that would suck. Sorry, bro.
It did suck.
But
well, I think this was a success. I think we're gonna do it again.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy these, man.
Absolutely.
I like, and that's part of the attraction of the whole track day for me. Is just getting to hang out and bullshit and talk shop because I mean, at where I work, I have absolutely zip nothing in common with anybody. So I mean, there's really no conversation to be had.
I literally been working from home for over a year and a half. So anytime I get to get out and see people and talk to people, it's a good thing.
Hell yeah. So we'll do this again. We'll be not to say that we were disorganized this time, but we'll be a little more organized in our presentation and we'll be a little more fluid as we move through the topics of the conversation. You know, one will lead into the next, and we'll be a little more prepared. This was kind of like a last minute thing. And I'm glad we did it because I had fun again. Yeah. And I hope you guys did too.
Yeah, let's try and shoot for like after NCM or something, you know?
Yeah, that sounds good. And then, you know, just a shout out to everyone, just a big thanks for stopping in again. If anyone has any constructive input, you know, message us, please. we're doing this not only to hang out and have fun ourselves, but to try to help others. There wasn't really nothing like this when I was trying to get better and faster.
Me
So,
either.
Yeah, no,
I'm
not only
hoping-
that, like if you're struggling with something, if you have questions, I mean, like now's an opportunity to ask us kind of in a laid back forum, us to give you something, and maybe you can go work on for your next track day, right? Like we say, always show up with a plan, always have a goal. Ask the questions now. Let us try and give you some feedback. Maybe we can give you some tips from our personal experience, and maybe give you some things to work on so that you can go and try and improve yourself as your next track day, regardless of what level you're on. Novice, intermediate, advanced, expert racer, it really doesn't matter. We can all learn from one another. Like there's so many aha moments, like Trey said, that I learned when coaching. That's just like, because I'm going at a slower pace than what I'm used to, and I can look at some things, see some things differently, and like, oh, I need to try this. And then like, okay. And again, I'm trying it at a slower pace so that when I go out there and cut my own laps, I'm trying to put the bike right there and learn some stuff. So,
Yeah, there's levels to it, man. And everybody has those aha moments. And it's usually after a big aha moment that you knock a big chunk of time out, like Dean was saying. But yeah, I mean, my messenger's always open. If you have a question, shoot me a question. Doesn't matter. Come find me at a track day. That's what I'm there for. If I'm not on the track, it's going to be hard because I usually ride 2 sessions an hour. But if I'm in the paddock, dude, I'm all yours. If you want whatever, if you want to look some one-on-one, if you want to talk body position, you want to talk whatever, come get me. I'm there.
Yep, that's what we're here for. So, yeah. Today, I guess we're gonna give away another set of clip-ons or levers, of course, y'all's choice again. So we'll do the same giveaway as last time, but the big kicker is this time I'm gonna do a little different. I'm gonna pick a number between 1 and 100, and everyone that's here put a number in chat. Whoever's close enough gets it.
Text me the number.
Those of you that I'm
Well,
not
no-
gonna say that because that might help. That might give an unfair advantage to some people. But if you were here and you were in chat, oh man, I gotta show this. I gotta show this. So the man Russell over here at work watching,
Nice.
still at work, so he can watch.
That's
Glad
it.
to have you, Russell.
Absolutely.
All right, no, what? Hold on. We can't have people picking the same number.
Can they see?
And Danny, you won
the
last
chat?
week, so you can't win again. Say what?
If I was watching from YouTube, can I see live comments or only the comments that I write?
I'm pretty sure you can see everybody.
Hey,
Is
what's
there-
the numbers for?
Yeah.
We couldn't hear.
he's giving away either some levers or vortex.
What numbers do you gotta pick?
1
But-
to 100.
Yeah, one number, one to 100. I'm messaging y'all the number.
Yeah, both doing it. Yeah. Jason and Lauren are watching
There's some
together.
smart people in this chat, man.
They're trying to look at the reflection in your glasses.
Wait, could y'all see
would
it?
be that number.
Could y'all see it? You can't see my glass. No, there's no way
No,
y'all can see
no.
that. Okay,
No,
I was
but
about
you-
to say that'd be insane. 16 for Lauren.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'll go ahead and spoil it. I hate it for the people that might not have put something yet, but Corey won.
You guessed it on the nose.
It was the first number in chat, and then Danny followed it up with another 69 right after it.
Yeah. Should have been something like.
I probably should have picked
61.
something else. That's too obvious when it's
Should have
me.
been something like 16.
Isn't that what Lauren picked? 16.
I know. She's already got levers and clip on. So.
Gotcha.
I need rear sets. Me too.
Yeah.
Rear sets. Woo, boy, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I might have to stop doing giveaways for a while if we're going to get some rear sets in here.
Yeah.
My computer's gonna die in a minute, guys.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up. Congrats, Corey.
There we go.
Want to thank everybody for coming in and being active in the chat. It's great. We really enjoy this.
Tires.
And maybe we'll do a tire the next one. A tire. We'll get Rafi involved. How about
A
that?
tire. One tire.
A rear tire. Who needs a front tire? You need a rear tire. Fronts
So,
last forever.
yeah, big thanks to everybody. Remember, constructive criticism. If y'all have any, feel free to reach out to us.
Yes, please. Please.
And whatnot. If we will hopefully announce that we're gonna we will announce that we're doing this quicker than we did this time. Hopefully, this was sort of a last minute thing. Hopefully, give everybody a week advance. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
All right, man.
thank you guys.
Thanks everybody.
See you
Have
at
a good night.
NCM.
Yeah. All
Safe
right. Good
travels,
night.
gentlemen.
Later.